Hello, and welcome to this AttackTree Getting Started video. My name is Martin, and I am a technical consultant at Isograph. In this video, I'll be taking you through a getting started demonstration of our AttackTree software, where I'll be going through how to build a simple AttackTree from scratch, how to generate certain reports, and how to import and export data to and from the software. On screen now, you will see our AttackTree suite. This is where you can build and identify potential paths to an attack, and then rank those paths of attack by their severity, criticality, probability, or even their likelihood. The interface to AttackTree appears like so, and has been designed to provide a wide range of features and options in a form that is easy to understand and will be familiar to users of Microsoft and Windows products. On screen now, you will see the AttackTree main window, which appears upon startup. The program windows are organized into a split screen arrangement. The left-hand window contains the project tree control, which details the contents of the project. The main window defaults to displaying the AttackTree diagram. However, this can be changed using the right window toolbar options, where you can change the viewing options to display data grids, data plots, or even reports. Positioned along the top of the main window are the principal pull-down menu options, allowing users to select and perform different actions within the software. Immediately below these menu options resides a group of controls that form the main toolbar, allowing users to directly access some of the more frequently used menu options, such as save and opening projects, adding specific components, setting viewing scales, performing analyses, and viewing results, and even accessing a help and user guide. Before we begin building an AttackTree from scratch, it is worth noting that depending on the standard that you are working to, the program actually has some inbuilt templates that help populate some of the contents of the project tree. For instance, if I navigate to the Special Functions pull-down menu, the first option that we see is Template. If I select this, the program will open another dialog window, allowing me to select from a drop-down menu a specific standard. If I say select the ISO 26262 option, click OK, and then click Yes, the program will automatically populate your project with a few things. So if I go back over to our project tree and expand the likes of the likelihoods, the indicators, and consequences, the program has populated this and set these up using definitions and values from the selected standard. These can also be set up manually as well. So if you needed an element of customization or needed to amend certain parameters or attributes, then you can simply double click or right click and add to build your own likelihoods, indicators, consequences, and risks. And we'll come on to that in a little bit more detail later. For now, we will begin looking at how to construct an AttackTree. First, we will want to add our top event of the AttackTree. This will represent potentially a successful attack on our system or an other undesirable event that you're concerned about. AttackTrees represent how events and conditions interact together to cause the top event to occur. At the roots of our AttackTree, we will have basic events that ultimately lead to an attack being successful in combination with other events or conditions. These are then joined to our AttackTree top event via gates that essentially represent intermediate events. So to construct our AttackTree, we will want to add our top gate. And in this example, we're going to have an AttackTree representing an undesired event, such as entering a bank. To add this top gate, you can either go to the Add menu and select the New Top Gate, or you can use the Add New Top Gate icon located in the main toolbar. By selecting this, this will add a new top gate called TP1 to our project. If we double click the top gate within the diagram window, the Gate Properties dialog will appear, allowing you to modify various attributes associated with that gate. Here we can change the ID, and in this instance we will call this one Enter, as well as being able to provide a description of our gate. Once done, I can click OK, and the changes will appear on our top gate. Now that we've added our top gate, we can now add our intermediate gates. To do this, you can either use the option from the Add menu, Gate to Diagram, or you can use the Add Gate button from the menu toolbar. Moving your mouse into the diagram area, the cursor will change its appearance, displaying a gate symbol. To add gates, position your cursor over the gate, so in this instance, our top gate, and click the left mouse button. A new gate symbol will be automatically drawn underneath the original. The default name of GT1 will be automatically assigned. Now, for the example that we're going to create, we will need a second gate. So, keeping the cursor over our top gate, click the mouse button again, and another gate appears, this time called GT2. To clear the add mode, simply right-click off your diagram and select the Clear Add mode. As with the top gate, if we double-click GT1, we can enter another specific ID. In this instance, this is going to be tunneling into the bank. So we'll give an ID of tunnel, and we'll give a description of tunnel into bank. And click OK. We can then repeat the process for GT2, but this time it'll be by entering the bank using keys. So we'll call our event enter keys, and we'll call our description enter bank using keys, and click OK. Once done, our attack tree should begin to start taking shape, with a top gate and two subsequent intermediate gates beneath. Now we can begin adding in some basic events. Following a similar process, you can add events from the Add menu or by using the Add Event button in the toolbar. Again, once selected, the cursor should change within the diagram area, this time displaying an event symbol. Like before, to add events, position your cursor over the required gate and simply left-click the number of times to represent the number of events that you wish to add. So in this example, under both of our gates, we'll want to add 2 basic events, so 4 events in total. These events will be given default names EV1, EV2, EV3, and EV4. The events can be double-clicked, and the primary event properties dialog will appear. And here, like with the gates, we can enter new event names and descriptions. So for EV1, we will require plans. And what this will be is plans obtained for the bank. Click OK. EV2 will be tunnel OK. So this will basically represent that our tunnel into the bank was successful. Again, click OK. EV3 will be how do we obtain the keys? Well, one way of obtaining the keys will be to kidnap, and that will be to kidnap the bank manager, and click OK. Whereas our final event will be to obtain the keys, so to steal the keys, and click OK. Now that we have added our event data, we can double check our attack tree logic. So in this instance, we know that both events for tunneling into the bank need to happen. Therefore, we need to amend the logic of our tunnel gate. To do this, simply double-click the gate to open our gate properties dialog, and where we have the option of type, within that drop-down menu, we can just simply change the logic of our gate. By default, when events are added beneath the gate, it will select OR. But in this scenario, because we require both events to occur, we can change this to AND. Click OK, and you can see that the symbol has changed from what was here on the right of OR symbology to an AND symbology. So from these simple steps that have been carried out, you'll see how AttackTree enables you to quickly build up your attack tree structure, modify the gate types, and enter basic descriptions for gates and events. Sourcing data for an attack tree is often a difficult thing to do, as it is not always easy to come across information about the likelihood of an attack or of a threat of a particular kind. When looking at the basic events, there are a couple of approaches that can be taken when applying such information. You can, if applicable, apply probabilities or frequencies to your basic data and enter this directly into the program. To do so, let's take our first event, for example. If we double-click the event and open the primary event properties dialog, towards the bottom there is an option to enter directly a probability value. If, however, the event is, say, an initiator or an attack type event, something that might occur anywhere but last in the sequence to cause the issue, then by selecting the initiator option or the initiator checkbox, the properties below change and allow you to enter a frequency value and essentially set how often that event occurs. But for this example, we'll keep it as a probability. As mentioned, it is often difficult to obtain probability and frequency data for basic events within an attack tree. So in addition to analysing how likely it is that an attack will succeed, attack trees can also employ indicators to essentially indicate the kind of cost to an attacker or whether specialised equipment is required, and so on. Indicators are defined by the user on a project-by-project basis, where you can define up to 8 indicators per project. However, in this example, we've already pre-populated our indicators with those from a chosen standard template. However, you can manually enter indicators using the Add menu or by right-clicking the indicator heading within the project tree. Within this example, we'll be using 2 indicators, time and expertise. By double-clicking the indicator properties dialog will open. Here you can define the indicators if required by, again, providing an ID, a description, but you're also able to provide minimum and maximum indicator values. These values are essentially a dimensionless value that indicates the seriousness of the problem. So in some situations, an indicator value may represent a real number, such as the amount of money or the cost of performing the event from the viewpoint of the attacker. Indicator values are assigned to each event at the roots of an attack tree. Each indicator category is treated independently as far as the values are concerned. An attack tree will then calculate indicator values for gates in the attack tree by applying simple mathematical expressions. And these mathematical expressions can be defined for each indicator from a predefined list as seen here within the indicator properties, where using or and logic, you can tell the program to either sum, minimize, maximize, or use 3 other options: product, average, necessary, Prasham. So for this example, what we'll do is we'll keep it as the basic, where OR logic uses minimum and logic uses maximum. For example, if I open the primary event properties for our plans event and navigate this time to the indicators tab, here is where I can manually enter a value for each of the indicators based upon those minimum and maximum values that we've just seen. Or if these indicators have been set up with, say, specific categories, I can select these from this drop-down menu. So for this example, let's say that it takes 30 hours to acquire those plans, whilst the expertise required to obtain the plans is, say, very low. So let's say that's 5. And what I can do is I can also go back to our general tab and I can apply a probability of this event occurring as 0.1 and click OK. And here you can see that those parameters that I've set now appear beneath my basic event. So what I can do now is I can now begin applying my other values to my other basic events. So for my tunnel, let's say that this has a probability of 0.001, whereas my indicators, let's say obviously building a tunnel will take some time. Let's say that this is a value of 400 and that this requires some or a degree of expertise. So let's give that a value of 100. Again, they now appear beneath my event. Whereas let's say that this has a probability of 0.1 as well. Whereas our indicators, let's say this takes less time than building a tunnel, but still some time. but it also doesn't require that much expertise. Let's give that a value of 2 and click OK. Whereas with our event for stealing keys, let's give that a probability of 0.1 as well. And our indicators, well, we'll say that this doesn't really take much time, but it requires more expertise than, say, just trying to kidnap someone. And click OK. Once set up, I can then run an analysis by going to the traffic light button located in our toolbar. This will perform the analysis, and this will kind of display the results for your gates and your top gate if your view options have been turned on. In this instance, my view options haven't been turned on, so what I can do is I can go to View, Options, and it opens up our project options, but located for the View tab. So what I will do is I'll turn Show Gate Indicators, and I'll click OK. And as you can see here, they're not appearing for my intermediate gates. And this is because I haven't turned the retain results on for them. So what I can do is double click the gate properties and select this option here called retain results. Or alternatively, what I could do is I could go to the analysis pull down menu, go to the global kind of option for retain results for, and select all gates. And because I've changed certain options, I now just need to rerun my analysis. Click Perform Analysis, it tells me that it's OK. And now you can see that my results have been displayed for all gates within my project. In this example, we can see how those mathematical expressions have essentially worked. So for the tunnel gate, which uses AND logic, and as we remember in the indicator options, the gate has simply taken the maximum amount of those indicators. So it has taken a value of 400 for time and 100 for expertise, as it requires both events to happen. So obtaining the plans would occur within the same time as that tunnel. So this is why the gate shows those values. Whereas with the OR logic, so the enter keys gate, the mathematical expression has taken the minimum values from both of those events. So the time 5 from the keys event and expertise 2 from the kidnap event. Then, because our top gate is also using OR logic, it has taken the minimum from our 2 gates below, hence why we have a result of time equals 5 and expertise equals 2. Similarly, the probabilities for each event have been used, and the program has calculated the probability for our top event. And in this case, we get a probability of 0.19. During the analysis process, AttackTree will also perform the minimal cut sets for each gate. A minimal cut set is simply a combination of basic events that will result in the top gate or top event occurring. To view these minimal cut sets, you can simply go to the toolbar and click the Q equals button, otherwise known as the results summary. The results summary dialog will then appear, and it will allow you to select one of your gates within the project. So, for example, we'll choose our top gate, and it will show you a view of the summary showing the probability as well as the indicators. To view the cut sets, you can simply select the cut sets radio button, and a list of the minimal cut sets that result in that top event will be displayed. This list basically tells us about the different ways in which the top event can be achieved. Each cut set is listed together with its either probability or its frequency values. In some situations, you may wish to export certain data out of the program to share with colleagues or to perform additional analysis outside the software. To do this, the software has an export function. Simply navigate to File and to Export. This will open the export dialog. The first tab focuses on the database format in which you wish to export your data. The Type drop-down menu gives you a list of the different databases types that the program can export data to. In this instance, and for simplicity, I'll just simply use Excel. Next, I will then just browse for a location to where to save that specific file. And in this instance, I will call this AttackTree Data Demo and simply click OK. Next, I want to select both checkboxes below. The first, column names in first row, is fairly self-explanatory. It essentially tells the program to place the column names within the first row of my Excel spreadsheet, so I'll tick that. Whereas the export no match is indicating that I'm not exporting to a pre-existing database, so simply click OK. After selecting these options, we can then navigate to the Tables tab. This will allow you to define which tables are to be exported. You may transfer tables to and from the application table list by selecting the appropriate table, followed by the selection of the appropriate arrow button. So, for example, if I want to export my events or my event data, I would simply scroll down the application table and find the table called primary events, select it, and then I select the corresponding arrow and transfer that across to the exported application table. And this can be done for as many tables that you require, but for simplicity, I'll just use one table here. Once your table has been selected, you can navigate to the Columns tab. Here you can transfer columns to and from the application column by following the same process by either selecting the column and using the arrow button. But for the simplicity, what I'll do is I'll just move all of the columns across. However, it should be noted that if you're exporting data from multiple tables, this process will need to be done for each table individually. Then, once you've exported your tables and your columns, just simply go down to the option or button called Export. The program will tell you that the export is complete, allowing you to then close the export dialog. And in doing so, the program will ask you if you would like to save these settings. For this example, we can just simply say no. Now, if I go and search for my Excel spreadsheet, I can see that it's being created here. I can simply open this and you can see that my event tree data has been exported into my Excel spreadsheet as I asked. Alternatively, if you have data stored externally that you wish to import into AttackTree, the program also has an import function. So for this, what I will do is I'll open up a new AttackTree that I have here. And for this, I will then go to File and Import. And the import dialog will appear this time, much like the export dialog that we've just seen. On the Database tab, I select the type of database the data is stored in from this drop-down menu. So for this example, we will go again with Excel. Like before, I can then browse to find the file pathway. So in this example, I will direct it to the event data that we've just exported. Then select the option that the column names are found within the first row. Then we can move to the Table Matches tab. Here we can see that in the external table window, we have the table name of my exported data. And to the right, we have a list of all of the application tables. When importing, what we need to do is make sure that the program can link or match the data correctly to the appropriate tables. And essentially, there are two ways that you can do this. You can either select the external table and then scroll down through the application table to find its corresponding other, and then simply click that. In doing so, this will generate a match. Alternatively, if like me, you haven't changed the naming convention of your table, you can simply use this button called Auto Match. And here it will search the application table for that corresponding table. Once your tables have been matched, we then need to repeat the same process, but this time for the columns. To do this, simply move over to the Columns tab and repeat the process, either manually if naming convention has changed, or via the auto method if the naming convention has been kept. Again, Like with the export method, if you have more than one table, you will need to repeat this process for each table separately. Then, once you have matched your tables and columns, simply hit Import. Program will say that this has been complete, and again, upon closing the Import dialog, the program will ask you if you want to save these settings. Now, if I navigate over to my events heading in the project tree, I can expand this and see that the program has now imported my basic events. And from here, I can then begin to, say, build my event tree. I can add my top gate, add my 2 intermediate gates, but rather than simply clicking the Add Event option, what I can do now is I can drag and drop my events beneath my specific gates. And in doing so, you can see that it's imported my IDs, it's imported my descriptions, but it's also imported my probability and indicator values too. So it's one method of being able to kind of speed up the process of building your attack trees. It should also be worth noting that at any point there is a user guide within the program that can help explain or guide you in what certain parameters mean or how to perform certain tasks. To access this, simply navigate to the main toolbar and select the blue question mark button. This will open up a user help guide providing pages and examples on how to make the most of the software. In addition to the import and export function, the program also has a powerful reporting functionality. The report designer is a very powerful and flexible tool that allows you to design customized text reports and graphs, as well as selecting standard reports provided with the application. First, we have to ensure that our calculations within our project are up to date by selecting the Perform Analysis tool again. Then we can select the Reports button that appears above that attack tree diagram. By selecting this, this will open the report designer in a read-only mode. Then, if we navigate over to the Open Report button, the Open Report dialog window will appear, displaying the kind of standard report folders that are provided with the application. Here, what we can do is navigate to the Diagrams folder, and we can open the Attack Tree Diagram report. This will then display, if I change the settings, will then display a report that displays our attack tree diagram. From here, we can then use the following buttons, say the print or the publish that report within Word. So we can export these reports as well. So we can export it via Word, or we can even publish the report into PDF. Again, what I can do is if I don't just want my diagram, but say maybe I want specific results, if I go to the Open Report folder again, go back to the reports, and this time navigate to the Results folder. Here you can see some generated kind of templates that are included within the software, but this time what I'll do is I'll scroll down and I'll select the Cutsets Gate report and click Open. This will then display a tabular report detailing the cut sets for my attack tree, as we saw within the results summary. And as well as kind of showing those cut sets, it will also show the data such as the probability or frequency of those cut sets. And again, like before, I can print or publish those reports within Word or PDF. But now I can also export that data in a CSV or a tab delimited format. It's also worth noting that the report designer is fully customizable. Users can edit reports in a way that changes text characteristics, alters the color of reports, or even changes the makeup of a report by adding, removing columns, and kind of changing the results that are displayed within the report. To do this, you can navigate to Design mode, where by clicking this, the text report tree will then be displayed upon the left-hand side. Here, users can select the query heading and either generate a standard query that generates a customized report, or if required, can create a custom SQL query to produce more detailed reports that display additional results that the user wishes to display within the reports. This brings us to the end of our Getting Started video for AttackTree. If you have any questions or would like some further information, then please feel free to reach out and contact us at the following email addresses, where we would be more than happy to assist and answer any further questions that you have on our AttackTree software. Many thanks for watching and goodbye.